Alright, we got the table, got the fire, got a chair. Time to cook. Hey everybody, welcome to Rage in the Cage, doing a video today talking about ironing boards and all the uses I use them for. I'm only going to show you a couple, but as an example, the title of course says, tables for many camping uses, and I've used them for that. You're going to get to watch me eat off it. And I've also used them to prepare the meals. And I've used them for, washing the dishes, setting up wash tubs. I've actually used them for cutting up game when I'm out hunting. I've used them around the yard. I've used them at trade shows when I used to go to trade shows for various reasons when I had my company. So it's, it's a great thing. These little ironing boards, you can pick them up cheap at secondhand stores, or maybe you've got them in the family. They've been around for a long time. And, hey, iron boards have coverage. You can put nice tablecloths and do all kinds of stuff. So the rest of the video, I'm going to be showing you how I use them for shooting benches and chronographing and that kind of thing. And I'll show you my chronograph setup as well. And, yeah, we'll go from here. So I've got the two basic styles here with the legs. The one I just set down has the flat legs. Built perfect for a flat floor. This one, as you can see, it's got the points that stick out, the legs, and they go out on an angle, and that way they don't just get caught on the ground like the flat bar does. And it's much easier to set up on rough terrain like this here that I'm on, or any kind of out in the wilderness kind of stuff. So that's what I really like about it. It's versatile, and you can set the height. This one I'm working with here is a nice heavy one. It's an older one. It's got heavy legs, heavy pins. It actually has a locking mechanism on each side, so it double locks, which I think makes it more stable. The other one got for $3 at a Value Village at a secondhand store. And hey, guess what? I've used it a lot. It still works. You have to, a lot of times, just manipulate the ground, kick it in like I'm doing here. But you know what? It works. So I'm going to be lifting the lid on the chronograph box that I built a couple of years ago. This came out of the necessity to be able to shoot in inclement weather and get readings, and have data for long range shooting and other things like that, hunting season. Showing where the two LED lights are over top of the photo cells and the switch, and turning it on and off so you can see that it works. You know what? That's actually a display with a temporary battery for the switch. And I kept the whole thing together, and I'm using it. And it's just little watch batteries, so I can change it whenever I want to. Again, the second table, you put your gear on it, you put your extra ammunition on it, I put the reading mechanism, the display unit for the chronograph on there, and my book, so I can write down my numbers as they come out. I'm going to be bringing this up here soon to the camera, and again, I apologize for the water spots. Didn't realize it until I got back to do editing. But yeah, I mounted the I mounted the chronograph into the box, into this tote, and it's got levels in it. There's one, you can't see the second one, but you see that green level there. And so I can make sure when I set up that this is perfectly level. Do the same thing with the rifle, and then again, it's just more consistency for getting the numbers for shooting. And here what I'm doing is I'm actually looking through the hole in the chronograph where the screw goes through, lining everything up, putting it in place, and locking it down. And yes, the chronograph is not at the right height. I'm not actually shooting here in this one. I'm just showing you the setup. Normally I would be lowering it to get it to the proper height for shooting, etc., etc., and going from there. Now, when I'm setting up this chronograph for shooting, I've added a couple more tricks to it. So you can see the white paint on the front, and there's crosshairs painted into it, and I'm going to show that a little bit closer up here in a bit. And I showed it in the short video that I did to talk about my update from getting away from the 5G. Um, so what I have is I painted crosshairs on there, and this way what I can do is when I set up the I can line up my rifle reticle, the scope's reticle, to those lines, and that way I know that the bullet is going at the same distance all the time. Again, it's consistency for getting the data as consistent as possible. Okay, use the same bipod every time. Um, you know, for all my rifles. And the other thing is, I'm not showing it here, but you can see me looking down as I move the rifle back. I have markings on the table for where the different rifles sit, so that I know this is generally where I want it to be. And now I'm going to be digging out some strings. And what I do with the strings is this. So when you're lining up a chronograph, you need to make sure that it's perfectly in line with the barrel of the rifle. So the bullet flies perfectly across over top of the photocells. Now there's the actual readout. I brought that out first. Now I'm going for the string. Here comes the string. Get ready. I've warned you twice. So what I use a string for is I tie them to the back two rods in the chronograph, and then I extend them out to the rifle. This does a couple of things. First of all, when I stretch them out, they are always at the same length. So when you hook them, how I do it is I hook them onto the top turret of the rifle, and then they go down the scope, and I can see the barrel, and I can see the chronograph, and I can line everything up. But that rifle is the exact same distance from the chronograph every time. And that makes a big difference when you're going for consistency for the numbers for the long range and precision shooting. And here I have to move the table. Now, this ground is bumpy and rough, and I'm not able to move the table back, so I'm going to have to pretty much put it back and then go move the chronograph. It's easier to move the chronograph around. It's more forgiving for terrain than the table is, so when I find a nice spot for the table, I like to leave it there anyways. And so I'll move it back, get it, close enough. I'm gonna have, it's a trial and error. You have to move things around each time. Yeah, look, I'm on uneven ground. You can see the lake in the background, and where I'm standing used to be part of the lake, but the county decided to kill some beavers and take out some dams, and the lake receded. So what it provides is this nice area for a lot of other good uses. So like I said, I get things lined up, and I have the spots for each rifle on the table. Now I'll get the strings out. What I do is I bring the strings back, and they go around and they hook onto the top turret of the scope on the rifle. And now I can stand back and I can say, okay, I need to move a little bit this way, a little bit that way. I can pull the rifle back and get those strings nice and tight. Pull them back to the point where they're tight, but they're not moving the box. And now I can really get nitpicky about lining stuff up. But the beauty is those strings help me get everything lined up perfectly straight, quicker, and more precise. And that's when I came up with the idea, and that's how I've worked it. And it's a really good thing. I'm really happy I did that. It really works good. And again, now you can you can get behind the rifle and take a peek and make sure the crosshairs are lined up with the reticle on the rifle, the crosshairs on the box. Now the thing is, I'm not shooting today and everything's not lined up. But if I was actually lining up, I would be also lining up with the target downrange. So here we go. I'm going to turn the lights on, and bang, there they are. You can see them. The idea of putting the chronograph in the box does a bunch of things. First of all, it protects it from the weather, so I can shoot in all these weather conditions. The next thing is, now that I've set those lights up the way I have, doesn't matter what the weather is doing, whether it's a bright sunny day or overcast like you're seeing here, or snowing or raining, those lights are the same every time over top of the photocells, because the bullet, as it crosses over top of the photocells, creates a shadow. And the more consistent your light can be, over top of those photo cells, the more consistent your readings are, so that you get the best data for your shooting. So we get the chair in place. Yeah, I mean, here's the beauty. I can set up for the height of that lawn chair. I can set up for a different chair or stool. That's the nice thing about the ironing boards being adjustable the way they are, is you can set up for height. You can set up for a lot of things. I'm really happy with it. I've been using this whole setup for a couple years now for all kinds of shooting, except for the really extreme long range. But for all the data gathering, like I'm doing now, for most of it, I'm able to do this. And now, here we go. Like I'm showing you that, yeah, I'm looking through and I'm making sure that what I'm doing here is I'm setting up so that the reticle is lined up perfectly with the crosshairs on the box. And in a real shooting situation, I would also make sure that everything's level. And then you saw me move the string out of the way, made that mistake the first time. And the blast from the muzzle brake did some damage. You can also set this up on the ground. So there we go, folks. That's just a quick video just showing you a couple uses for the table, showing off my chronograph box. Rage in the cage. Hope you liked it. See you later.